and her daughter's wedding, right? So it was about the wedding and the yoga lessons. So I said, okay, let's give her 5 or 6 each. What do you think, Mike? 5 or 6 each. 5 for the wedding. Make it 30, make it 100, make it 1,000. 1,000 for the wedding. And for the yoga, let's give her 200. Okay? What about all those thousands and thousands of emails, probably classified? So Congress. So forget about it. Let's assume they're gone because she deleted them and then she acid washed them. And then she hit her phones with a hammer. I get rid of phones. I've never hit them with a hammer, not even as president. I say, here, throw the phone away. No, I've never hit a phone. Has anybody ever gotten rid of your phone and taken a hammer and wiped the hell out of it? I don't think so. So she gets a subpoena from the U.S. Congress, not in a lawsuit against some guy that hates you and you're fighting or something. By the way, you do that, you got problems in court, big problems. But she gets a subpoena from Congress. U.S. subpoena, the most important subpoena you can get. They get the subpoena, and after she gets the subpoena, by a few days, everything is deleted. Her phones are busted up and cleaned and wiped, and everything's gone. And nothing happens to her. Forget about what was on. Now think of how angry it makes me when I see it. No, how angry. Could you imagine if I do that? It's a whole different ballgame. No, how angry it makes me when I see it. And, you know, we had an attorney general that didn't have a clue. That was my fault. I was loyal to somebody. He endorsed me early. You know why he endorsed me? Because I went to Mobile, Alabama. We had 55,000 people show up at a stadium. He said, I'd like to endorse you. Then after we won, he said, I'd love to be attorney general. I said, no, I don't think so. I mean, but after 4 or 5 times asking, I'm a loyal person. And I did it. The mistake sometimes you make is because of loyalty, but that's okay. But allowed her to get away with that is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Maybe there's something they can do. So forget about looking for the emails, and they are available, and I guarantee they're in the State Department. I guarantee you they're in the State Department, that they ought to damn well find them. They're being protected in the State Department. But forget about that. Almost as good is the fact that you're not allowed to do what she did, and her lawyers should pay, Kendall should pay equal consequence. Equal. But that's the way it is, and but we are making a lot of progress if you see what's going on. You know, I said to myself, I'm going to stay uninvolved. I don't have to. Chief law enforcement officer, can you believe it? But I think it's better if I stay uninvolved, and I have stayed uninvolved, and we do have an excellent Attorney General, Bill Barr. And I'll be honest, he's a smart guy. I think he's getting tougher and tougher and tougher every day. I think he's not going to put up with this stuff. I don't think. And, you know, he's got a lot of people that are deep staters, whatever you want to call them. And they fight him at every turn. They fight him. But he's getting tougher and tougher. I watched over the last 3 days. I'm saying, wow, that's sort of what we're all waiting for, right? But she deletes her emails. AOC gets rid of $2 million. $2 million, gets rid of it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. And then she goes around and calls us all like, what the hell are we? And she controls Nancy Pelosi. Actually, Nancy Pelosi would love to get rid of her, I think, you know, because Pelosi. How about Pelosi? How about that? How about Pelosi? Pelosi goes out and says, you know, I think I have my hair done. So she goes out and she goes into this beauty parlor. I told the story in Wisconsin last night. By the way, we had a great crowd in Wisconsin. You know, you have a feeling about places. You know, the problem with Minnesota is that I think since 1972, this hasn't been won by a Republican. So, you know, you're a little behind the 8 ball when you hear that, right? I mean, I can understand. And Wisconsin rarely, but I won Wisconsin, unlike Minnesota. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. No, unlike Minnesota, but it's my fault. So I had one speech left. It started at 1 in the morning. I went to Michigan. We won Michigan. That was another one. Great state. We brought back so many auto companies into Michigan. We brought them back. But I had one. They had one. It was already Voting day. It was election day because by the time I got there, it was just scheduled. Had I made that one damn stop to your state, we would have won Minnesota. I lost by, what, a half a point? Half a point! But I get off the plane and they said, he's in Minnesota, he's down 9, the recent poll, down 9. I believe it's a suppression poll. And you know, I have an instinct about things, pretty much. Somebody said, Trump has the greatest political instincts of the last 100 years. One of my enemies said that. And I said, no, I don't. I don't believe I do. I think I have lousy political instincts, but what am I going to tell you? Let me just tell you, they said that, and I was very impressed by the statement. In fact, I went to my wife, I said, you know, they say I have the greatest political instincts in over 100 years. And I said, but I don't believe it. I don't. I don't want to be Beto. Remember Beto? I was born to run for president. That was the end of his career. Beto O'Rourke, who's in charge of guns. By the way, he's going to take your guns away. You know that, right? Biden. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe's going to take your guns away. Remember Beto on the cover of a really crummy magazine? I won't mention the name. They got a lot of bad magazines out there. The good news is most of them are dying, if not all of them. But Beto O'Rourke, he did the story, and, you know, he was going to defeat Ted Cruz. He was going to do all these things. Ted beat him, and I helped a lot, too. I was with Ted all the way, and I think Ted's appreciated it. But here, I even said, I'm putting Ted Cruz as one of the people for the Supreme Court, right? And you know why I did it? You know why I did it? Because I wanted to make sure that I had somebody on the list. We have about 45 unbelievable people. Unbelievable, the smartest, the best, the absolute creme de la creme, right? The best minds in the country, conservative, they believe in the Constitution, okay? You know, little things like that. But I said, you know, I have to have somebody that we're going to make sure we get approved. And the only one I could think of is Ted, because he's going to get 50 Republican votes and he's going to get 50 Democrat votes. He'll do anything to get him out of the Senate. But I joke when I say that to Ted. But I say it all the time. Ted's the only man I know can get 100 votes. Single senator's going to vote for him. But he's a great guy, and he's a brilliant guy, and he's been great. He's been really great. I kid when I say that. But, you know, one of the things we've done that's so good is the Supreme Court. We have 2 Supreme Court justices. We will have, at the end of my term, approximately 300 federal judges, including Court of Appeals. Right? So anyway, but just to finish, there's no way that I'm 9 points down. I look at a crowd, so they say instinct, right? So I look at a crowd, and whether I have good instinct or not, this is not the crowd of somebody that's going to finish second in the state to a Sleepy Joe. Finish second to a guy that cannot put 2 sentences together. Now, it is an ideology. It doesn't matter. I could put that broken piece of wood right there. I could put that out, and it's the same thing as Joe. It's just an ideology. It's just an idea. Now, historically, we have the biggest gap in enthusiasm of any campaign that they've ever polled. You heard that, like 36 points. In other words, they've got no enthusiasm for him. I have tremendous enthusiasm, as we can tell. But he does have enthusiasm to beat Trump. His only enthusiasm is put anybody in there, right? Put anybody in there. He does have enthusiasm to beat Trump. Nothing for him, but to beat Trump. Okay, but historically, that never wins. When somebody has to rely on winning because of somebody as opposed to winning because people love you, people respect you. And Sean Hannity did something the other night. He said, would you have this man, if you owned a McDonald's hamburger stand in a reasonably busy area, would you have Joe Biden running that stand? The answer is no. He doesn't have the energy. He doesn't. So he can't run the country. No, seriously, I thought it was good. I never thought of it. You wouldn't have him running your business. You wouldn't have him running a McDonald's. I have to say, or a Wendy's. I have a friend, he owns Wendy's. He always gets up, can't you ever mention Wendy's? Okay, Wendy's. But, you know, you wouldn't do it because he couldn't do it. And yet he's running for the presidency. He's got no energy. I made a comment that somebody had low energy. That was the end of his political career. But Joe's energy is far lower. It's far lower. No, it's far lower than Jeb. Jeb was on the low side. But Joe is like, he's off the scale, right? Joe's got nothing going. Today, Biden delivered remarks, barely, to a union after spending 47 years giving their jobs to China and foreign countries in exchange for campaign cash. How about his statement? Hey, we talk about AOC being crooked. She's 100% crooked, okay? But we're talking about that. Look at Omar. She came in here. Did she marry her brother? Where's that writer? That writer should be given the Pulitzer Prize. He never will be. He should be, though. You know the amazing thing? All of these writers, New York Times, Washington Post, Russia, 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 Trump, Russia, Russia, Russia. I had 19 people, all brilliant, all radical left, all Hillary Clinton people. Actually, not even a never-Trumper from Bush, okay? All Hillary Clinton people, mostly, almost everyone. They were all Democrats. How about this? You're being investigated by 19 Democrats that are smart people, okay? Smart people. So my friend says, you know, you are the most honest person in the world. You've taken 3 years of total investigation. You don't think they've gone over my taxes? They went over the biggest tax firm in the country, the most prestigious. They went over everything. They spent $48 million. It comes out now. It's about $48 million investigating me before I won and after I won. And we caught them spying on my campaign. That's what they were really doing. And now with the phones, I think there's like 22 or 24 people. You heard this one. They said, no, no, no. We made a mistake when we deleted our phone. You know what they had to do to make that mistake? Like 19 different formulas, right? I don't even know how you delete a phone. I didn't know you could do it. But they all made the exact same mistake. That's not good. That's not good. So let's see what happens to them. It's a criminal act. You know that, right? It's a criminal act. It's criminal. Weissman's a bad guy. He's put a lot of people in jail that shouldn't be in jail, Weissman. He's a bad guy. He's on CNN all the time, or MSNBC, which is, I call it MSDNC because it's the same thing. Owned by a company called Comcast. Did everyone ever hear? With an N, not an M. Con, like a con job. Comcast. They spend a fortune on public relations. Comcast has delivered to you the news, all the news. And they spend a fortune on, and then I go up and make one speech and I call them Concast, and that's the end of the PR for the year. They are a bad group of people. They're sick. I mean, they're sick people. They're sick and evil people. And they want bad things for our country. And they don't report the news. You know, in the old days, when you used public airways free, you had to get a license. I keep saying, if they're reporting fake news, how come they can keep getting a license? Whether it's